Good morning, everybody. My name is Pranav, a legal intern at Lexis and Company for the month of June. And today I will be discussing about the contract of pledge under the Indian Contract Act. Under Section 172 of the Indian Contract Act, a pledge has been defined as a contract where a person deposits an article or goods with the lender of money as security for repayment of loan or performance of a promise. Now let's look at the distinction between a contract of bailment and a contract of pledge. The first basis of distinction is on the meaning. In bailment, it is the temporary delivery of goods from one person to another for a specific purpose. And in contract of pledge, goods are delivered to act as a security for obtaining loan. The second basis is the parties. In contract of bailment, the bailer and bailee are the two parties involved, and pledger and pledgee or pawner and pawnee are the two parties involved in a pledge. The third basis of distinction is on the basis of consideration. Consideration may or may not be involved in contract of bailment, but a consideration is present in a pledge. Fourth is on the basis of the purpose. The purpose of bailment is for safekeeping or repairs, etc., and the purpose of pledge is to act as security. The fifth basis is on the right to use. Bailee has the right to use the goods bailed to him for the purpose authorized by the bailer. The pledgee does not have the right to use the goods pledged to him. And the last basis of distinction is on the right to sell. The bailee cannot sell the goods which are bailed to him, but the pledger has a right to sell. Now let's look at the essentials of a pledge. There are five main essentials. Firstly, delivery or possession. In order to constitute a valid pledge, there has to be a bailment of goods as per Section 148. The delivery must be voluntary. It must be noted that only the possession and not the ownership is transferred. The second essential is the delivery must be under the contract. Thirdly, the delivery must be made for a specific purpose. The goods must be delivered by the pledger to the pledgee to act as a security for the payment of loan. Fourthly, condition to return. The goods are delivered to the pledge upon a condition that they shall be returned to the pledger upon the repayment of the loan or fulfillment of a promise. And the last essential is judicial transfer. In order to make a valid pledge, mere physical possession of goods are not sufficient, but the pledger must also be able to exercise certain degree of control over the goods. The next topic under contract of pledge is the rights of pledger. First right is the right to redeem goods. Under Section 177, the pledger can exercise the right of redemption over the goods pledged by him even after the expiry of the specified period of repayment. If a time is fixed for the payment of debt and the pledger makes default in payment, he can file a suit of redemption and recover the possession of goods pledged before the pledgee and makes the actual sale of goods. Second right is the right to enforce. The right to enforce the pledger's duty. The pledger has a right to file a suit to enforce the pledgee's duties. For example, he has the right to recover the goods pledged along with the natural accretion of the goods after making payment. If the pledger makes unauthorized sale of the goods, the pledger has a right to file the suit of redemption and declare the sale as void. He can also enforce the pledger's duty to take reasonable care of the goods pledged. And the third right is the right to receive the goods. Once the debt is discharged, the pledger has a right to recover the possession of the goods. Now let's look at the rights of the pledgee. Under Section 173, the pledger has the right to exercise lien over the goods pledged till the payment of debt is made by the pledger. Secondly, the right to recover the extraordinary expenses. Under Section 175, the pledgee is entitled to recover from the pledger the extraordinary expenses incurred by him for the storage or the preservation of the goods. It must be noted that for the recovery of such expenses, he cannot exercise lien over the goods, but can only file a suit for recovery of such expenses. And the third right of a pledgee is right to sell. Under Section 176, upon the debtor's default, the pledgee has the right to sell the goods pledged for the repayment of loan before making the sale. The pledgee has to issue to the pledger a reasonable notice declaring his intention to sell the goods. And now let's look at the last topic under the contract of pledge, that is, pledged by the non-owners. Generally, only those persons who have ownership of goods can make a valid pledge. But in some cases, even the non-owner can make a valid pledge. There are four conditions where a pledge can be made by a non-owner. First is an agent. Under Section 178, an agent has a right to pledge the goods owned by the principal after getting his approval in the ordinary course of his business. Second, possession of goods under a voidable contract. Under Section 178A, a person in possession of goods under voidable contract can execute a valid pledge provided the contract has not been cancelled by the aggrieved party before making the pledge and the pledgee has acted in good faith without the knowledge of the pledger's defective title. Thirdly is the seller in possession of goods after sale. A seller in possession of goods after the goods are sold is no more the owner of the goods but can still make a valid pledge if the pledgee has acted in good faith and has no knowledge of the true owner of the goods. In this case, the buyer can only obtain damages from the seller and cannot recover the goods from the pledgee. And fourthly, co-owners. A pledge created by one of the co-owners is valid provided that he has obtained the consent of other co-owners. With this, I come to the end for today's topic. And tomorrow, for tomorrow, I will be discussing about contract of agency, the right and duties of an agent. Thank you.